Okay, so we will talk about today is banking in India. Okay, so let us just write the topic first. We had already spoken about money, so now we will talk about something very vital, that is banking in India. Okay, so we will also see the functions of Indian banking and what are the types of banks. So that is very important because it's a very vital question which is asked here. So first let us understand the definition of a bank. So definition of a bank. So what is a bank? So a bank is a financial institution which performs the deposit and lending function. So a bank, allows a person with excess money, that is called as saver, to deposit his money in his bank and earn an interest rate. Okay. So similarly, the bank lends to a person who needs money, so he's called as a lender or a borrower at an interest. So at an interest rate, which the bank decides and gives it to the borrower or the lender. So thus the bank acts as an intermediary between the saver and the borrower. Okay, so the bank usually takes a deposit from the public at a very much lower rate called deposit rate, and then it lends the money to a borrower at a higher interest rate, which is also called as the lending rate. So let me write down here: the bank usually takes a deposit from the public at a much lower rate called deposit rate, and lends the money to the borrower at a higher interest rate called lending rate. Okay, let me continue this. So the difference between the deposit and lending rate. So they will ask you this for the UPSC question also. So what is the difference between the deposit and the lending rate is called as net interest spread, and the interest spread constitutes the bank's income. Okay, so this is a very very essential topic. Okay, so now let us see the essential features of the bank. Okay, one by one. Yes. So the first one, as I said, is we can talk about is the functions. Let me write this first. Functions of banks. Okay. Financial intermediator. So they are the land. They are a middleman is called as an intermediator. Okay. So the process of taking funds from the depositor and then lending them out to a borrower is known as financial intermediation. Now, through this process of financial intermediation, banks transform the assets into liability. So, let me write. So, through this process, banks transform assets into liabilities. Okay, so thus this way the economic growth, by channeling the funds from those who have surplus money, it goes and it shifts to the desired money. So the banks also act as a risk mitigator by allowing the savers to deposit their money safely, by reducing the theft of or robbery. And it simultaneously, these savers, they are saving the money by keeping it in a very safe place in a bank, and simultaneously they are also earning interest on the same deposit. So banks provide services like savings accounts, deposits, which allow the savers to withdraw money on an immediate basis, which we had studied about M1, M2 if you remember, thus providing liquidity which is as good as holding cash. All you have to do is you have to just go to the bank and remove the money, or you can also have an ATM. Okay. So now, how banks promote economic growth? So banks are very important for economic growth in a country. So let us see this and let us see the flow. It's a cyclical flow. So let us understand. Okay. So my topic is how banks promote economic growth. Okay, so that is a very important thing. Okay, now the first step is, say for example, savers with excess money. So the person, suppose you have a lot of money, you are called as savers. So what you do, you go to bank, and what do banks do? The banks accepts money. Okay, now with this money, what the bank does? So banks lend money to investor or borrower. Now this money where the banks are given to the investor. So what does the investor do? So investor uses the money and it invests in business or industry. Okay, so what will happen? Now this money, invested money, okay, will bring more return. Okay, so anything you are invested, you will definitely expect more return to business. Okay, and this, what will happen? Employment will increase. Okay, so then there will be more income. So what do you mean by more income? More income means more savings. Okay, so more savings means more money to fund. So more money, more savings, more money, more income, and finally again these will get converted to savers with excess money. So now you can understand this is a simultaneous process, and now if you can see that savers with excess money will go to the banks, banks will accept the deposit, then banks with that money will lend money to the investors or the borrowers. The investors who get the money from the banks will invest in business and industry, and this invested money will bring more money return to business, and employment will also increase. Automatically more income will happen, more savings will happen, and more money will happen. And more money means that will be excess money. So excess money brings you to becoming a saver to the bank. Okay, so this is basically, this is a way that how banks promote economic growth. Okay, so now let us go to the next topic we will talk about is the structures or the types of banks. Okay, okay, so types or structures of banks in India. Okay, so the first one we will talk about is, obviously we will draw a drawing. So the first one, the right on the top comes RBI. Now RBI divides into two. So one is commercial banks. The another one is region or regional rural banks. Commercial banks are again subdivided into two. I think you know about it. One is the public sector banks or public commercial banks, and another one is private commercial banks. Okay, regional banks are only having a subdivision of cooperative banks. Okay, so this is what is happening. So first we will talk about two things that is very important, that is scheduled commercial banks. Okay, so very important vital point for UPSC. So just let me erase this. So I hope it's clear. RBI, under that commercial banks and regional rural banks, and under commercial bank that is public commercial banks and private commercial banks, and under RRB that is regional rural banks we are having is cooperative banks. So now we are going to talk about is scheduled commercial banks. Yes, so scheduled commercial banks. Okay, so now very important, so all this is a history of the banks. So all the commercial banks in India is divided in scheduled and non-scheduled, is regulated under Banking Regulation Act 1949. So let me just explain you. So by definition, any bank which is listed in the second schedule of the RBI of India Act 1934 is considered as a scheduled bank. So by definition, any bank which is listed in the second schedule of the RBI of India Act 1934 is considered as a scheduled bank. Okay, so let us see which kind of scheduled banks we have. So yes, just grab this. Okay, so as I said, let us see the which types of scheduled banks are there. So the first one. Now this list is a long list. Everybody knows. So this list includes SBI, State Bank of India, and its branches like subsidiaries like SBI of Travancore or Trivandrum, and all nationalized banks are scheduled banks. So all nationalized banks, okay, so Bank of Baroda, okay, Bank of India, etc. Private sector banks, so private sector banks